evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Evening Review. My name is Sokgona Tlhage. Let's take a look at today's front page. Evening Review this today takes a different form. We're joined by Omar van Reenen from New York City, where he led a petition calling for the termination of the contract of Corinne Steenkamp. Now, Corinne Steenkamp recently made very rude comments on social media, where she said that the Bible was not made for black people, and that civilization was not for black people, and that we should that black people should go back and eat locusts with their rotten mouths. Omar, you led a petition from the United States calling for the termination of Corinne Steenkamp's employment after her racist Facebook rant. Tell us more about how that transpired and how that happened, you leading her contract termination, the petition.
So when I was made aware of Corinne Steenkamp's racist and dehumanizing remarks against my fellow black, brown and colored Namibian brothers and sisters, I began a social media campaign to call for her termination and to hold her accountable. And together with the collective fight of many young Namibians, we found out that she was an educator, and not just any educator, but one at a Christian institution. And you know, this goes to speak at a larger issue in our society in Namibia of how people use religion as a platform to suffice their hateful rhetoric. I broadcasted to the school's email and the school's number on my social media platform to my followers, and I encouraged them to reach out to the school to demand action, because this is how young people can effectively use their tools in a digitalized world to bring about social change that is so needed in Namibia. I contacted the school's principal and I urged them to condemn her remarks, to immediately call for her dismissal, and most importantly, to publicly release a statement stating what their values are at that institution, what their principles are on racial intolerance in our society. Because this was an opportunity for the school to set the standards for racism or not allowing racism in our society. Here they can show the nation that ideology and sentiments that are based in hate has no place in our society. It's not enough for people to say that they are not racist. Anti-racism calls for us to dismantle the institution or not excuse any ideologies of white supremacy in any form, especially in a newfound born-free Namibia.
So Omar, how do we move forward with the work of anti-racism in Namibia? How do you feel white people can get more involved in these debates?
So how do we move forward from here in the work of anti-racism in our society in Namibia? I want black and colored Namibians to know that they exist, that they matter, and that their lives as Namibians matter too. And then I want my white Namibians to understand that they still continue to benefit from a society that was built on the oppression of black and colored people. So they need to ask themselves, what are they doing on the work of anti-racism? Because being not racist or being pro-black is not enough. How are they educating themselves on issues of institutionalized and systemic racism? Because it's not the job of black and colored people to educate non-people of color on how they benefit from an institution of white supremacy, one that has held our people back generations. How do they check their privilege? Privilege that was benefited from institutionalized apartheid. So here's my call to all Namibians. When you walk into the ballot box to cast your vote, how does your vote for that candidate or for that party impact the work of social justice, of racial, of economic, and of equal rights for all Namibians? When you walk into the ballot box, are you voting with the most vulnerable people in your society at heart? If we cannot proudly answer these questions, welcome to the society that we built, and we have to do better as Namibians to push our country forward.
And then, Omar, tell us, what lessons do you think Namibia can draw from the Steenkamp saga and other racially charged incidents that still happen in our motherland? For example, can you be a born-free when there is still inequality?
So the lessons that I think Namibians can learn from Steenkamp's racially charged remarks, or the incidents that are surrounding her remarks, is that her remarks speak to a larger issue or a broader issue in Namibia society. You know, being born free is the biggest lie that's being sold to my generation. And don't get me wrong, I am not dismissing in any form the blood that waters our freedom, my freedom today, or the liberation fight that brought about the independence of my country. Even my grandparents were a very big part of the fight to dismantle apartheid as they built the first hotel for colored people during apartheid. This is where they allowed SWAPO to come and have their meetings too, to strategize ways to petition the United Nations for our independence. But you cannot be born free if you are not equal. There is no freedom in any nation if there is no equality. And as a gay Namibian myself, I grew up in a country with state-sponsored discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community. As the government continues to uphold an apartheid-era law called the 1980 Immoral Practices Act. Even women in my country aren't truly free because their reproductive rights aren't equal. Gender-based violence is occurring in our country because we don't even have laws that adequately protect them, like a national rape registry. So poor Namibians too, or indigenous Namibian tribes, they are all still continuing to be disenfranchised because they aren't given equal opportunity in our country. So I want us to hold all forms of consequences for discrimination equal in our country, not just for people who incite racist rhetoric in our country. And we need to bring the same energy that we did to condemn Steenkamp to elevate the lives of Namibians who are not equal before the law. Young Namibians, we face such a huge double standard in our society. When we use our newfound post-apartheid education to point out all these grotesque social wrongs in our society, our elders become outraged.
Not known to many of his followers is that Omar has led one of the biggest demonstrations in the United States in the aftermath of the killing of George Floyd at the hands of police officers. This relates to the Black Lives Matter debate that is currently going on globally. We have some video footage of and images of the young activists before we continue with our interview.
It demands that we, here and now, proclaim loud and proud that Black Lives Matter. It matters today, it mattered yesterday, it will matter tomorrow, and it will matter every single day until justice reigns down, until justice. It will matter every day until justice rains down like a river coming to cleanse this nation against its crusade of the black existence. My black comrades, exist. You matter, your life matters, and you are American too, especially in this time when we don't even know what America is. My white comrades, what are you doing? What are you doing in the work of anti-racism? Because being pro-black, that ain't enough. How are you educating yourself on systemic racism? Because it sure ain't the job of black people to do that. How do you check your privilege, which you have benefited from?
What do you want? Justice. When do you want it? Now. No justice. No peace. No racism. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racism. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racism. No peace. Hands up. Don't shoot. Hands up. Don't shoot. Hands up. Don't shoot. Hands up. Don't shoot.
Omar, describe your life journey from...
My journey from Namibia to New York has been so profound that I've been blessed with so many doors that have opened for me. I hail from Walvish Bay, Namibia, where I served as the junior mayor of the port city of Walvish Bay in 2015. That was really where I began to cultivate my passion for public office and my activism for social change to uplift my community and push humanity forward. But my sexuality has always served as a barrier for me to openly advocate in Namibia. So when I came from Namibia to New York on campus, I was actually elected as the first international student to be president of the student government on campus. This is a $2 million non-profit organization that empowers the student voices on campus. I was also blessed with the opportunity to serve in an internship role in the Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer's office in the United States Senate, as well as serve on a congressional campaign in the United States House of Representatives. So I want my work to show all the little girls and boys in Namibia watching that they should never doubt that they are valuable, that they are powerful, and that they are deserving of every chance and opportunity in this world to pursue and achieve their dreams. Yes, they too can grow up and be gay, lesbian, trans, disabled or poor, but they can also grow up and be a doctor and a teacher and an engineer, regardless of their identity. Yes, you too can grow up and have these identities and be mayor and president of Namibia. You belong, and this is your country too. And together, we can build a more equal tomorrow.
Could you share some of your political ambitions with us going forward?
You know, my political ambitions for the future, one can't really tell right now, but it's definitely to return to the motherland and to elevate the lives of all Namibians in any capacity. If I'm so fortunate enough to be blessed to serve Namibians in a leadership role, I will make sure that I vehemently dismantle systems in our country that are so unequal economically, politically, and socially. Because it is our duty as born free to hold our government accountable. It is not just our duty to fight for our freedom, but to win equal opportunity for all children in our nation. In Namibia, we must love and support one another, because from apartheid to a nation reborn, we have nothing to lose but our chains. Born free means unbounded equal opportunity for all. And I want young Namibians to never be afraid to demand action, to demand justice, because this is how we form a revolution. And the revolution and the future is calling, and it demands that we do better. It demands that as a society, justice will only rain down on Namibia like a mighty river coming to cleanse its nation, or this nation, against its crusade against minority groups. And that's how we can get justice in our country. Not just justice against racism, but justice for all disenfranchised. So whatever I do in the future, I will make sure that I fight for what's right, because fighting for what's right is always worth it.
Thank you for tuning into the Evening Review. Good night.